world of football is, I wouldn't say it's normal, because all of a sudden
it's never been normal, is it? It's absolutely bonkers.
I am joining you live from my bar.
Oh wow! That potentially could be worth it for 30 goals a season.
Hello, my name is Roshan and thank you for joining us on IN20. Hello and happy Mother's Day if you're watching here in Malaysia. Danny, is it Mother's Day over there as well?
I don't think so. I hope not.
Yeah.
I think it's a different day.
Well, it is Mother's Day over here in Malaysia. So if you're celebrating, happy Mother's Day to all the single fathers out there as well. Thanks for putting a shift in, like good old Danny Mills back in the day for Leeds, Man City, England. Was there any rumors of you joining the likes of Liverpool back in the day? Would you have loved to have played for Liverpool?
No, they weren't good enough, Roshan, back then. I'm just teasing. No, there was. There was a towards the end. There was a little bit of a rumor. Chelsea were interested when Claudio Ranieri was there, sort of just as Roman Abramovich came in. But I think they realised they had more money and they bought somebody better than me. So no surprise. But yeah, never really any links with huge clubs. You know, you have to remember we had 5 seasons in the top 5 in the Premier League. You know, 2 European Cup semi-finals, Europa and Champions League. So, you know, we were doing pretty well in our own right at the time.
All right, those were good times. It's good times now if you're a Liverpool fan. But okay, fine. That dream is still alive. The quadruple, barely, but it's still alive. If there's one thing wrong with Liverpool right now, would you say it's defending at its basics? Because the goals they've conceded of late is just, you know, the simple things you'd practice to prevent from happening in a game. Correct me if I'm wrong.
I think Liverpool have always been a little bit like that, and that's always been the argument, hasn't it, about, you know, Trent Alexander-Arnold. You know, unbelievable going forward. Amazing, fantastic number of assists and crosses and key passes and chances created, but he can be exposed defensively at times, and we've seen that against the better teams. You're not going to get exposed against Watford, against Burnley. That's not going to happen because they don't have the quality of players, because you only get maybe 4 or 5 attacks, whereas Tottenham, 4 or 5 attacks, they've got real out-and-out quality in there, and we saw that on more than 2 occasions. You know, they could have had more goals. They had a game plan. They stuck to it. They worked hard at it, and it almost paid off for them. But because they have that real quality in that front 3, in the final third, you can play like that and rely on 2 or 3 opportunities where most teams, like, you know, in the lower half of the Premier League especially, are not that clinical enough, and they probably need 7 or 8 chances, and you simply just don't get that because Liverpool dominate possession like Man City do.
They have Real Madrid in the Champions League final, a team that knows how to win over 2 legs. It's one final, a shootout. Every other acronym that is there, it's going to be thrown in. But it is a game whereby, if you see Real Madrid play recently in the Champions League and the league, they basically have 2 sitting midfielders, and it's tally-ho up front.
I mean, what Real Madrid have done is incredible. To come back against PSG, to look like they're down and out of it against Chelsea, you know, to look like they're down and out against Manchester City. You know, there's an argument, is their name on the cup? You know, is it one of those seasons? Obviously, Ancelotti going back there would become the greatest manager of all time, potentially. Or do things come in threes? And is that the 3 games out the way? I don't think you can write them off. Liverpool are the better side, but Man City were the better side. Chelsea were the better side. PSG had better players. So it's going to be a really intriguing game to see how it's played. And my fear for Liverpool would be that if Real Madrid is still in the game with, 20 minutes to go, they know how to win. And that's the biggest, especially in cup football, that is the biggest thing.
When you put your team on a piece of paper, you put them in certain positions, but when the game starts, they always chop and change. And one thing with Real Madrid, as I mentioned, they're very, very fluid up front. How would you counter it if you were Jurgen Klopp? Would you stick to your guns or adapt your team to try and quieten them down?
No, I think you stick to the principles of defending have never changed. The first principle of defending is delay, get people behind the ball, get numbers, deny time and space, to the opposition. So it doesn't matter who's playing in what position. It's really just a case of, well, if you're the nearest man to that player, you go and close down. Someone else has to fill in that hole. So you just have to work on that during training. It's personnel. You don't always know who's going to play anyhow. You don't know what substitutions are going to be made. So you work on those principles that, okay, this is our back four. These are our two midfield players. Nearest man closes it down. Other man drops into the space and shuts off the gap. But it's, I mean, I think it should be an intriguing game because by rights, you look at it, as you said, on paper, Liverpool should win the game. And it should be relatively comfortable. If you can stop Benzema, you stop pretty much an awful lot that Real Madrid do. But I said that about Manchester City. I said if Man City can stop Benzema, then you win the game. And they didn't.
Luis Diaz, I like this guy. He's a lot of fun to watch. He should be playing in Dortmund, but he chose a better team with more money. Could he fit into this Real Madrid team? Could he be that world-class player that everyone's touting him to be?
World class is always
okay. But is he on the right path?
Yeah, definitely. Oh, he's an outstanding talent. He's absolutely superb. He's got all the attributes. He's got all the potential to be that. World class for me is not just one season; it's longevity. Mo Salah has done that. Harry Kane has done that. Players, Lewandowski has done that. Players that do it week in, week out. And I always said to be world class, you've got to be in the top three in your position in the world at that stage. If you pick three teams, you've got to be in those teams. I think that puts you in the world class bracket. He's had some incredible performances, but we just need to see that consistency. You've got to see that consistency over 3 or 4 seasons, I think, to be world class. But he has the potential. Obviously, he was a little bit fortunate yesterday. With I think an own goal.
It wasn't little. It was a huge deflection there.
Oh, it's massive. I'm not even sure. I've seen a couple of replays. I'm not even sure it was on target. But sometimes you need that little bit of luck. At times. But he's a danger, and he makes things happen. He picks the ball up, he runs at people, and he drives into the box, and he makes those situations happen, and that's why he's very, very dangerous.
So just let's say, for example, he is good enough to replace the likes of Firmino or Salah, and Salah decides to move. Yeah, just say he decides to move, whenever. Would Salah be good enough to go into the likes of Real Madrid or even Barcelona?
Yeah,
and make them better?
Yes, definitely. He's a top class. Think of the extra freedom that he would get in those leagues as well. When the time and space is greater, the number of chances probably would be greater. The teams maybe are not necessarily as defensively minded in Spain, or wherever that, or PSG. You think if he was playing at PSG or Barcelona or Real Madrid, it could score 50 goals. The amount of chances that they create. He scored 40 already, or he's looking to score 40. This season. So yeah, without a shadow of a doubt, he is easily good enough. But as Manchester United used to do, you have to always replace top class players. Stam left, they carried on.
Roy Keane, Van Nistelrooy, Beckham, everybody.
all these, Ronaldo left, they moved on. All these different players kept changing it, and Sir Alex Ferguson kept reinventing them. And a lot of these players didn't leave when they were past it; they left in their prime as well. So you have to do that as a football club. You have to keep evolving all the time because you can't. Even Real Madrid have done it. You look at the Galactico team of 4 or 5 years ago. Apart from Benzema, Kroos, and Modric, it's almost a completely different team in there.
Manchester United going through changes, be it players or managers. I'm not trying to be funny, sorry, but Uncle Ralph came in, right?
Shall we just leave Man United till next season? Should we just write them off?
I think you know what I was going to, because you're right. I was trying to pick
without talks. Manchester United, they're hopeless. I think I've said publicly on air before what I really think of them. But I think
it was
Man United,
a horrible game. I actually stopped after the first 16 minutes. Yeah, I stopped after the 60 minutes because only one team is playing. And that, for me, is just a crime against football. If you're a football fan, let alone a football player earning an income, based on your, let's not go there. But I was trying to say, I was going to skip Manchester United and just talk about something else until Uncle Ralph's press conference when he said he wanted to talk to the likes of Luis Diaz and 2 other players. And they said no. So if you were going to bring in this guy, right, even if he was a stopgap measure and he saw some areas that needed fixing and you prevented him from doing it, what kind of individual or board makes those kind of decisions? Yeah,
Manchester United board that put Solskjaer in charge for 3 seasons. You know, didn't give Mourinho the money that he wanted. You know, to whether you like it or not, Mourinho plays a certain way, and you've got to give him the players and give him the finances to play that way. Simple as that. That's what he does. If you don't do that, you're asking him to manage with 2 hands tied behind his back. You know, so Manchester United board, since David Gill, Sir Alex Ferguson have relinquished power at that football club, it's been nothing short of a shambles. And that's all you can say. They need to get it right. They need to sort it. And I think Manchester United fans have got to hope that Ten Hag comes in, is strong, has demands with the backroom staff, with the board, all these types of things to get the foundations of the football club. Because at the moment, it's the foundation of the football club that's the real problem.
Which doesn't seem to change at all. Yeah, they're doing the whole firing the scouts. You know, Ten Hag's going to come and he's going to set up his new structure. I mean, seeing is believing. Actually, after the first 2 seasons, then I'll believe there's actual change there. But if your manager, a temporary manager, or whatever you want to call him, interim, says that, listen, I wanted to go bring in these players, the board the board said no to me, isn't that going to have a negative spill? And that's what you saw in that game against Brighton.
Well, I think, you know, you start to lose heart, don't you? As a manager, going, well, look, I was brought in to do a job and I can't do it. Mourinho was brought in to do a job, not allowed to do it. So it's like, well, why have you brought me in? Don't
even players,
like, yeah. Well, it's like you don't bring Ronaldo in and say, actually, you know what? Can you play right back for me? It's not. That's what you're asking these managers to do. Effectively, you're asking them to do something that they're not good at, that isn't their forte. That makes no sense. You wouldn't do that in any other business. You know, you don't go out and get the top people and then ask them to do something completely different to what they've done before. Just that makes no sense. That's horrific recruitment. And that's what it comes down to. Who was ever running the show at the top of Manchester United, recruitment strategies, recruitment policies, selection process has been awful, absolutely awful.
And if you're a United fan, I hope it gets better.
But it can't get any worse, can it?
No, that's what we keep saying season in, season out since Jose, or since we started the show, Danny. It's been almost 2 years now.
Well, it's their worst ever Premier League season, you know, without a doubt. You know, it's unlikely it's going to get even worse.
Okay. You know, let's just leave it there. I agree with you.
Although,
yeah, it's dead, Danny. Leave them. Let them die. Wait, if they're dead, never mind. Let's talk about Pep Guardiola, right? A quick one. We've always disagreed on this. You've said he's a fantastic manager, a very successful manager. I think he's overhyped. And I say this with the most amount of respect. I can never do what he does. None of us can do. But you look at his career, right? What has he accomplished apart from that spell at Barcelona? Somebody please explain.
Well,
please.
The way, right, so there's 2 strings to this. The way that he changed football, especially in the Premier League, and the way that teams started to play and how he's developed players, made players better. Manchester City are an incredible team to watch. Have broke records left, right and centre. Have played some scintillating football. Been absolutely awesome. He's won the league several times. He's won the Cups several times. He still hasn't won the Champions League except when he was at Barcelona. Now, this is starting to become a little bit of an issue. The problem that he's got, and there was stats this week, I think of the 11 times they've been knocked out of the Champions League, 8 of those have capitulated in under 15, 20 minutes.
Yeah.
You know, 2 goals in 13, 2 goals, whatever, you know, 2 goals, 3 goals.
I saw that. Yeah, goals. I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
I think it was Miguel Delaney tweeted it out. That's incredible. I didn't realise that. You know, and that has to come down to mentality, game management. And ultimately that comes from the manager. And I think until Pep wins it with somebody else, you know, he failed to win it with Bayern Munich, the treble winners. Had some of the world's greatest players in that team at the time. He's failed to win it with Manchester City, you know, and he's had plenty of opportunities. Sometimes he's got it wrong. Sometimes they've been unlucky, but they haven't won it. You know, he won it with the greatest Barcelona team of all time, which probably Roshan Urian could have managed to win the Champions League with that team.
I could have, yes, for sure. I did it in FIFA as well. The game.
Well, as long as you as long as you pulled the right names out and said, "There you go, lads, play." It's pretty difficult to get that too wrong, wasn't it? It was unbelievable.
My only gripe with this whole thing at what he did at Barcelona, he did get them playing the way he wanted them to play, but he was blessed, as you mentioned, with his squad. But everybody, and I keep saying this, and I don't keep saying it. Everybody.
So if I flip that round, then why? Okay, so unbelievable coaches. Mourinho won it with Porto.
Yeah,
he won it with Inter Milan. He's won the Premier League. Yes, okay, he's had money and other. Is Klopp a great coach then on that basis?
I say yes.
Why is he better than Guardiola?
Because of what he did with Dortmund, and I saw that procedure. He basically took a team.
What did they win?
They came close to the Champions League final, but they did win the league there. They did dethrone Bayern Munich and a cup.
But equally, Pep's won the league at Man City. He's won the league at Dortmund. Bayern's won the league at Barcelona.
Fair enough. But beating Bayern is like beating PSG in France. It's impossible because the amount of money, they buy the best players from their biggest opponents.
It's not impossible.
Okay, fair enough. Then you see what Jurgen Klopp has done at Liverpool. He took a team that had heritage. Everybody talks about all the glory days. And made them one of the best in the world, if not the best, at one point in time, within 4 years.
He's won the Champions League once, and he's won the league once.
And that is not success.
But Guardiola's won the league how many times?
How many of the previous Manchester City managers won the league as well? 2. Yeah, but before that has been done, local domestic cups and the Premier League. I know we're going to disagree on this. We've never agreed on it.
So flip it around then. If Liverpool don't win the league this season, if they only win, let's say they only win the FA Cup and only win the League Cup, which obviously they've already run, that has to be seen as a bad season. Would you say he's failed?
As a certain pundit says, Danny Mills, there's only one team that can win it.
Of course.
And if the team,
but if you're effectively you're in the final of all three. You've already won one cup. You're in the final of 2 other cups, and you're sort of in the final of the Premier League. So if you only, let's say they don't win another one, that has to go down as failure, surely. And if they don't win the league, do you turn around and say, okay, they've won the league once. They might not win it next year. They might not win it the year after with other teams coming stronger.
Yeah.
So if Jurgen Klopp goes another 2 or 3 seasons, only wins the league once, would you just say that they're a cup team?
Fair enough. I know where you're coming from, and you do have valid points. Okay, then you know what? Let's take Jurgen Klopp out of this equation. Let's compare him to the likes of Mancini, right? And what he did with his national squad, what he's done with the league teams, including Manchester City, in Italy as well. Isn't he a better manager than Pep, depending on what he has won in his career and what he's done?
I think it's difficult because you've got styles of play. You've got, you can't pick national teams. It's not about transfers. It's all about other bits and pieces. It's all subjective. They're all very, very good coaches.
Carlo Ancelotti,
unbelievable.
Better than Pep?
I would, at the moment, not in terms of style of football, maybe, but yes. Sir Alex Ferguson better than Pep? Yes. You can't deny that. Ancelotti, if he wins this with Real Madrid, that'd be 5 times he's won it with different clubs at different periods.
Yeah,
he's been in every European final. Mourinho has to be up there as well. Has to be. If you're just looking at trophies, Mourinho's got to be up there. And now he's in the final of the Europa Conference, Papa John's pizza trophy, whatever it is that they're playing for. But you know what Mourinho's going to do if they win it? He's going to come out and say, "I'm the only manager that's won every single European trophy."
So, how do you define success then? You've got 40 seconds.
I think it's a mixture. You've got to win trophies first and foremost, and it's about winning trophies versus expectation. If you're winning averaging 2 trophies a season, that has to be seen as successful. And if you're winning the league time and time again, that is the ultimate success. Because if not, we've seen teams, you can win a cup competition, you can win on 4 or 5 games. Liverpool's run in the Champions League hasn't been the most difficult. When you look at the teams, everyone slaughtered Gareth Southgate and gave him a hard time when England got to the Euro final, when they got to the World Cup semi-final, and said your run was easy. Well, no one's really said that about Liverpool, and their run hasn't been particularly difficult in this Champions League.
Fair enough. I know I'm supposed to stop it right now, but I was about to say something, and you brought really
We're
good
in
points.
injury, Roshan. We're in injury time.
We're in injury time. Okay, so
20
you
plus
just
three.
summarize this, and I'm going to hit you with my final question. Mancini, Carlo Ancelotti, Jose, Pep. Pick one. Who's the best for you? Who's the best?
I'm still going Jose.
Okay, fair enough. Now I like you, Danny Mills, because my final question to you was, which I was about to ask, and you took us on a brilliant tangent, was everybody talks about Pep Guardiola at Barcelona, right? No questions asked there. Everybody knows the track record, but nobody talks about Frank Rijkaard and what he did prior to Pep and set this whole thing up for him. He was the one that rebuilt Barcelona and made them a giant again to take on the likes of Real Madrid. How come nobody talks about him?
And you go back before that and you look at Johan Cruyff and the way that they played, and also what Begiristain and Soriano did in terms of the academy, at Barcelona. When you talk at, Iniesta was there, Messi was there, Busquets was there. Incredible players, were there all the way through. The whole team almost came through that academy system, didn't they? And that's what they set up. And that's what Manchester City are trying to do. It's very, very difficult to do it, but they're trying. So Barcelona goes back years, the way that they play and all of that. So yeah, but they didn't win as many trophies. So, it's Pep that gets all the plaudits for that.
But wouldn't you agree that Frank did rebuild that Barcelona team to at least give him that launch pad? He did win the Champions League after all, right? Beating Arsenal.
Definitely. But I think, this is Barcelona were always a great team. Always had the potential to go that way, the support that they had, the finances that they had, the way that they played, the players that they recruited. But you could say that, what came before Brendan Rodgers got Liverpool to second in the league, okay, then Jurgen Klopp had to rebuild it. You always have to rebuild. You always have to keep going. Mourinho rebuilt Chelsea 2 or 3 times. Ancelotti took it on. Tuchel took it on. The foundations of these massive clubs are there. Sometimes they just need a little bit of coaching, a little bit of direction, a little bit of tinkering. And suddenly, you go from average to boom, you've won something.
Okay. I think it's time to call it quits because something's going on in your kitchen, I believe.
It is. Time to go, Roshan. Time to go. Breakfast. It's
been brilliant, Danny Mills. Thank you very much. Frank Rijkaard, I love you. You deserve more respect. Till the next time. Take care.